Welcome back to Morgan's video blog, Morgan's online blog in video format. Today I'm here to share with you what type of writing mentor do you need. So writing is often thought of as a solitary activity, but it doesn't have to be. There are lots of writing communities out there, online, writer groups, critique groups, and more. And sometimes, if you have the opportunity to reach out to someone at the next stage of their writing, you can find a mentor. Now, not all mentors are created the same, and not all mentors, even good ones, are right for you. So, what do you need to look for in a mentor? First off, they have to write in your genre. Before anything else, you need a mentor who knows your genre. Managing expectations is key. Yes, you want novels that have twists and turns. Yes, you can have novels that push boundaries. But you should still write with a reader in mind, even if that reader is you. A picture book is gonna look different than a cozy mystery, is gonna look different than an epic fantasy. If your mentor doesn't write in your genre, they might miss you overdoing a trope or get confused as to why there are dragons. I mean, we all know all good books should have dragons. Anyway, some people just don't get it. It's weird. So, second thing to look for in a mentor: what writing strengths complement yours? Now, all of us writers typically have a particular strength. The three main ones that I can think of off the top of my head are world building, where you have complex worlds with three-dimensional, immersive worlds that fascinate without breaking the reader's sense of disbelief. Secondly, you have plot-focused writers who have intriguing plots that just pull you along on the ride, and you just have to find out what happens next. And third, you've got writers who are strong at character building. The character could be making a pot of tea, and they're so fascinating. You just gotta stay with them to find out what else they do, they think, anything. So if you're comfortable with your world building, you're likely going to want a mentor that is strong in plotting or character building. You're going to want a mentor who can bring along your other aspects and bring them up to the same level that your strength is at, so that the entire novel is on one level rather than having a discrepancy between the different writing aspects. Third thing you're going to look for in a mentor is what writing style complements yours. Besides looking at your strengths, you also have to be aware of your writing style. The three main ones I can think of are sensory, where these are the writers that create the worlds with meals you can taste, outfits you can feel exactly where they itch, songs you can sing. This often complements a world builder, but not always. The biggest thing these writers have to look out for is losing sight of the plot, because then they lose the readers. And these writers find that they often need to cut their story. The next writing style is screenplay. These can be sparse or full of action, but these are the writers that show all the stage directions but don't necessarily delve into motivation and thoughts. Clearly, point of view will determine some level of this, but they often have great action sequences, as I said, but sometimes because of the lack of internal thoughts and stuff, the reader might have trouble connecting with these characters or the world. Often these are the writers who write sparse, and you need to go back and add in detail to round out both the characters and the world. And the third main type of writer that I've come across is the ones that are lost in thought. These are the writers that let you into the main character's head, either first person or close third point of view. They share the character's thoughts and feelings and observations and rationalizations, but sometimes the characters aren't observant and you miss sensory detail and action. These writers often need to both trim down on the thoughts and add in sensory and action. So they're all over the map. Me, I tend to be lost in thought. Let me know in the comments below which type you are. And just like with writing strengths, finding a mentor with a writing style that complements yours can help fill in the aspects that you don't focus on, just to help round out your story. So the fourth thing you need to look for in a mentor is look at what stage of your writing you're in. You want a mentor who is ready to help you with the writing stage that you're in or going into next. One that is comfortable with whatever stage you need. We already know that there's tons of writing stages, you're never done, and we all have our own strengths and weaknesses. So, for writing stages, are you looking for a writing mentor, someone to bounce ideas off of, world building, character, plot, whatever? These are the, ones that you want to spitboard with. The next stage is revision, looking for a mentor who can recognize plot holes and pacing issues and unneeded tangents. Some writers know it when they see it, and some writers can show and help you process this information. These can be tricky to find, especially for writers that either don't analyze so much or it comes naturally to them. So you want to look for a mentor if you need revision help who can see these issues and point them out clearly and in a way that helps you figure out how to fix them. The third writing stage you could be in is editing, which never ends. In this stage, you're looking for a mentor who is attentive to phrasing and flow and dialogue, someone who can notice inconsistencies in either the novel's voice or the character's voice, and also maybe some tense issues, but we might be getting into copy editing there, which isn't really what most of us need a mentor first. The next stage you might be in is querying. In this, you're gonna want a mentor who has queried sometime in the last 10 years, preferably the last 5 years. They'll know the market, the trends for query letters and submission packages, and the process, just better than people who have been out of it for a while or people who predate the predominantly email or online submission format that we're doing right now. The next stage you could be in, possibly, is publishing. And when you're getting ready to publish, you want a mentor who has been published the same way you have been. Indie, small press, or traditional publishing all have their own benefits and detriments, which I'm not getting into in this post. But you'll want a mentor who can guide you through whichever publishing route you ended up going with. They're all very different, and you're going to need a different type of support to figure out the ins and outs. And finally, the last stage, marketing. It doesn't matter if you have an amazing book out there, published traditionally in every bookstore. If no one's talking about it, no one's reading it. So you need to find a mentor who knows what works, knows what doesn't work in your specific market, both genre and publishing style-wise. Different markets work differently. So some mentors can mentor you through all of these stages, whereas others are more comfortable with a specific aspect of the process. So just when you have a potential mentor, talk to them and see what level of mentorship they're ready to give. Beware, things to look out for. All that said, even mentors that compliment you might not be right for you. Here are some things to look out for. First off, mentors that don't get your story, even after explanation. These mentors just aren't going to be able to give you usable feedback. Either there's something about your world or your characters that they want to keep changing, and you keep explaining to them why that's not going to work, and they just expect you to make the changes they put in rather than look at changes as suggestions and for you to adapt to fit your world. Another thing is mentors who are not responsive, period. This one's pretty self-explanatory. If they're not communicating with you, you're not getting anything out of this mentorship. That said, health issues, lives, etc. happen. Many mentorships are free and out of the goodness of their hearts. So don't go bad-mouthing someone just because they become unresponsive. Be compassionate. Third, you got to be aware of mentors whose feedback does not bring out the best in you. For some people, soft feedback is something they can ignore, while others find sharp criticism either makes them want to give up entirely or cry or dig in their heels and argue with everything. If you have a mentor whose feedback doesn't encourage you and doesn't make you see ways to make your writing better, but instead, makes you antagonistic, that's not going to be helpful. If you have a mentor whose suggestions you just ignore and there's no pushback, why? So you've got to have one with a critique style that you can work with and you're both happy with the results. Another type of mentor to look out for is the one who either loves or hates everything. There's always stuff you can improve. If they love everything, they're not reading close enough. If they hate everything, it can be hard to see what parts actually need fixing and focus on that when they're just scattershotting at everything. If they hate your writing style, and they're not a good fit. And finally, beware of mentors who are abusive. If you leave conversations with them feeling personally attacked and beaten down, if they're just assholes to you or others, you do not owe them your mentorhood, or whatever the word is. You can end a mentorship relationship at any time. Caveat, the writing community is small. If you're worried about repercussions, break off a relationship whatever way makes you feel safe. You can politely thank them for their time and tell them you want to go in a different direction, or you need a break from your writing, or you know that they're busy and you appreciate their efforts, but you want to let them focus on their writing. Or you can tell them where to shove it. It's up to you and your comfort level. And just be careful that you don't get confused with abusive with ones that just are harsh on criticism when that's not what you need as feedback. So all that said, types of mentors, strengths, weaknesses, etc. Where do you find a mentor? Well, there are many places to look, and many organizations offer mentorship opportunities. There are Twitter contests, which can be very competitive, such as #PitchWars, which is at pitchwars.org, and is annual, and there's thousands of writers competing for a couple hundred slots. Or #WriteMentor. Many of these, the mentors have recently gotten a publishing deal for their first book, and they're beginners, and they want to give back to the community. And it's a really sweet process. Secondly, there are professional organizations. The Writing Society for your genre very often has mentorship opportunities. Just Google if you're writing children's novels. If you're writing mystery and fantasy, or mystery and romance, have very strong organizations. But all genres typically have a society that has a lot of benefits and very often mentorship opportunities. Check out your local writing clubs. Sometimes critique groups and stuff give way to finding someone who's right for you. There are also online communities. Find one that suits you. And teachers. take a writing class. See if you find a teacher that you work well with, or even a fellow classmate. There are lots of places to look for either writing partners or writing mentors. And writing critique partners, you want to look for a lot of the same things. A critique partner is a writer who gives you feedback more from a professional side than a beta reader who's giving you more personal feedback and maybe some copy editing. So let me know, do you have a mentor? Where did you find them? Have you ever had to fire a mentor? I'd appreciate hearing about your warning signs, but understand discretion. So feel free to let us know whatever you're comfortable sharing, or email me at morgan.s.hazelwood@gmail.com. As always, thank you for tuning in. I'll be back next week with more writing tips and writerly musings, and feel free to subscribe and share my post. Love you guys. See you next week.